This week, I worked on a dress from a brand new pattern I just purchased. I have 5 young children and we live on a homestead, so I hardly ever manage to complete a sewing project in one day. So I thought it would be fun to take you along and show you just how I end up spacing out projects like this through the week. Day 1 was spent printing out the pattern and taping it together. It was a big pile of paper and took quite a bit of time. This is actually the first time I have purchased a clothing pattern in PDF form. I mostly self-draft or loosely follow physical patterns I have purchased, but I wanted to challenge myself to follow the directions on a PDF pattern from start to finish, and this dress looked really pretty to make. My sister-in-law loves buying digital patterns and shared this pattern designer with me, so I knew it would be a good pattern to try out. The bodice on this dress is different than anything I have ever made, and I was excited to see just how it was constructed. Not much happened on day 1, just a lot of folding the edges of the pages, lining them up, and taping them together. On day 2, I finished up the little bit of taping together I still had to do, and I cut out each pattern piece. I ironed my fabric, which is actually a sheet from the thrift store. The plan for this dress is to partly be a practice garment or toile, but I also am not really interested in spending so much time on a garment to not really wear it, so I at least want it to turn out well enough so I can wear it around the house. This sheet is a very stiff cotton that also feels a little silky. The tag says that it is all cotton, but there is definitely a little bit of sheen to it. It's a heavy fabric, so when I realized I was not going to have enough of it to cut out all the panels for the skirt, I figured it was all for the best, because using all the panels would have probably made this dress heavier than something I would have ever wanted to wear. I got to a little bit of a late start on the 3rd day of sewing because the animals needed a little extra grooming. We put coconut oil on our cows to keep the flies off of them, and I ended up being covered in so many cow kisses that I needed to wash what I was wearing. If you're super observant, you might notice I changed clothes before sewing on this day, but it was still the 3rd day. This is the day I started the sewing process, and also when I realized that I might have bit off a little more than I can chew with this pattern. When I read instructions, my mind does basically the same thing it does when someone is trying to explain to me the rules of a new board game. Suddenly nothing makes sense, and my mind wanders off instead of focusing on what the instructions are saying. It's the moment I question if I even have any sewing capabilities at all. I learn much better by just doing something and figuring it out as I go along. So after reading through the instructions, I decided to give my sister-in-law a call. After talking through the instructions with her, I was able to better visualize the order of things, and the instructions finally became a bit more coherent. I enlisted her help through the phone several times to troubleshoot this pattern as I went along, and I'm so thankful I had her to help me get through this. One part I did find particularly hard was ironing the front of this bodice. Ironing the bodice on this dress was a little finicky, so it did make me feel better that the instructions also mentioned that it is, indeed, a finicky step. What I finally found that worked best was to iron the curved portion of the bodice on the edge of my ironing board. On this day, I was able to get through most of the bodice, only to realize that there was absolutely no way that it would be long enough for me. So I stopped working on it for the day, realizing that things would be much better with a fresh set of eyes on a new day. It was the right decision to stop for the day and to try again the next, because on day 4, everything mostly clicked. I lengthened the bodice where I needed extra space, recut the bodice, and sewed it all over again. While it's not fun to completely remake something, I reminded myself that this is the whole purpose of making this particular garment. I like the look of this dress, and I'm hoping to make it several times over with a pile of sheets and fabric I have set aside for it. This is still technically the test garment, even though I'm hoping to still be able to actually wear it as well. Thankfully, making the bodice a second time went much, much faster and way more smoothly. In fact, I was able to actually finish the rest of the dress this day. Now, I do not like how I arranged the skirt panels against the bodice, and I plan to fix that eventually. I do feel like the fit is mostly what I wanted it to be. Thank you so much for spending this week with me and for following along. If you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment below. I always enjoy hearing from each of you. Until next time, I'm wishing you a wonderful week.